So it turns out the Fever are not more dangerous without Caitlin Clark. Of course, that would have been true win or loss against the Los Angeles Sparks.
Indiana Fever's problems of not being able to close out games once again bites them in the butt against the Los Angeles Sparks, and in this game they really missed Caitlin Clark.
Team they still should beat without CC in the lineup, but the fact that that was even put into existence when it's obviously false.
Was this the most blatant case of officials influencing the game? Imagine Sophie Cunningham getting grabbed by the neck. Then, instead of a foul, the refs call a jump ball. This is just one of many controversial calls that left Fever fans boiling. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now back to the video.
They fall apart. They aren't able to get offense in the way they were earlier in the game. And Caitlin Clark can really help with that because she's good at playing in these games.
Anyone who's ever watched basketball understands that is silly and came to, be proven true once again through Clark's absence.
But it wasn't just bad officiating. It might have cost Indiana the game. So, how did this shape their loss, and what's next for the Fever with Caitlin Clark still out? Caitlin Clark was sidelined again. 5 straight games without their superstar, and the Indiana Fever were left scrambling to fill the massive void in their offense. Clark's absence wasn't just about missing her points. It meant the team had to reinvent its rhythm, its flow, and its leadership on the court while facing external hurdles. Dearest Dantas was unavailable, called away for national duty, and Dana Bonner unexpectedly exited the lineup. That left Indiana's roster stretched beyond its limits. But here's where things got interesting. Despite the setbacks, the Fever were still expected to dominate.
Nick going, and she's been brilliant recently, and Aaliyah Boston continues to have an awesome season. And I love the physicality that Aaliyah Boston is showing.
In the same way they started off a lot of their recent losses. They've been up in these games. They've had the momentum. It seemed like they were going to win it. And then at the end, they just lose it all.
Analysts had their backs. ESPN projected a 72.9% chance of victory, and the betting odds gave Indiana a minus 6.5 point spread. On paper, it was their game to lose. On the court, a completely different story. The few stars still standing took the challenge head on. Aaliyah Boston showed why she's a cornerstone for the Fever, controlling the paint and forcing the Sparks to adjust their defense. Then, you had Natasha Howard stepping up, adding veteran poise at the most crucial moments. And let's talk about Kelsey Mitchell. This woman couldn't miss from 3. She was draining shots left and right, almost single-handedly keeping the Fever in contention, especially when the Sparks started finding momentum mid-game.
But despite the loss, the Fever did play well in this game, and they fought throughout the entirety of it. Natasha Howard had 21 points on 8 for 11.
Doing it through defensive intensity and all that. When you don't have it to the same level, things can fall apart.
Shooting from the field, it wasn't a very dominant 21 points, but it was a 21 points of taking what the defense gave her. She played well. Aaliyah Boston had 23 and 12 in this.
Indiana came out strong, and it felt like they were running away with it early. But the Sparks weren't rolling over. They clawed back, using physical plays to disrupt Indiana's flow. And this is where the game started to get messy. Sophie Cunningham got grabbed around the neck mid-possession. No foul was called, just a jump ball. It was one example, but it set the tone. The Sparks kept playing hard, almost towing a line the referees didn't seem interested in enforcing. Meanwhile, Aaliyah Boston was picking up foul after foul for the lightest touches. You could sense the frustration building. These calls weren't just mistakes. They were momentum killers, leaving the Fever scrambling to refocus.
And when you have a player like Clark who can make something happen for herself or make something happen for others at any time.
She was 9 for 17 from the field, less efficient than you usually see Aaliyah Boston, but she did get down low into the paint. She used her strength. Kelsey Mitchell also had 19 points in this game.
Against all odds, Indiana fought back, refusing to fold even with everything stacked against them. But the question is, what did Coach White say about all of this after the game? It caught everybody's attention. Stephanie White didn't need to say much to make her point. 5 words. We didn't get the calls. Simple, sharp, and loaded with frustration. It was a rare moment of open critique from the typically composed coach, and it sent a ripple through the WNBA. At the post-game press conference, White's tone wasn't fiery, but it was unmistakably cutting. You could feel the weight of the game and, more importantly, the decisions that went against her team. Her words perfectly mirrored what Fever fans had been screaming all night. The officiating wasn't just bad, it was game-changing. The calls, or lack of them, piled up one after another.
Look at this first place. Natasha Howard on the low post, getting an easy layup at the cup, and I liked her game today because, once again, she did not do too much.
The entire defense to her, that makes all the difference in the world, and certainly makes the Fever just a little bit more dangerous.
One sequence stood out like a spotlight. Kelsey Plum elbowed Lexi Hall, and then, adding insult to injury, stepped over her like it was nothing. The result? No whistle, no foul. Fans couldn't believe what they were seeing, and honestly, neither could the players. That wasn't the only moment that left Indiana shaking their heads. Aaliyah Boston, who fought hard in the paint all night, got dinged for some of the softest touch fouls you'll ever see. Every little bump or nudge from her drew a call, while the Sparks seemed to play with complete freedom. On the other end, Sophie Cunningham literally got grabbed around the neck during a play, a clear foul in any rule book. But instead of rewarding Indiana, the refs called it a jump ball. These calls weren't just frustrating, they completely disrupted the Fever's momentum.
For the Fever to lose that game, because you're now at the part of the season where the Fever have enough losses.
She was only 8 for 17 from the field, so I would have wanted to see her shoot the ball a little bit more, especially since Caitlin Clark is not out there. You would have wanted to see her shoot it.
Enough losses where, they had a chance, or they were playing a team that they were better than, but still dropped the game.
Teams work hard to find rhythm during games, and nothing kills rhythm faster than questionable officiating. Fans took their anger to social media, claiming the game was rigged. Tweets and hashtags like #fix. The refs trended, with some calling it the most ridiculous officiating they'd seen all season. The perception that the league doesn't hold its referees accountable isn't a new conversation, but this game fired it up again. Even so, White's statement wasn't just a complaint, it was a message to her team and their fans. The Fever are disappointed, but they aren't done. There's still time for a playoff push, and Caitlin Clark could be back to lead it.
Well, the Sparks just made shots you wouldn't think a team that's the 10 seed in the WNBA would make, but the Sparks did make those shots, so you got to give it to them.
And this is now 2 losses to the Sparks without Clark. They've lost to the Connecticut Sun, who have the worst record in the league.
The Fever's loss wasn't just a frustrating chapter of questionable officiating. It was a testament to their fight. Even with a depleted roster, they gave fans glimpses of a team built for bigger moments. And guess what? Caitlin Clark could return as soon as Wednesday against the Golden State Valkyries. Her presence alone can open up opportunities for Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, and the rest of this resilient squad as they battle playoff-caliber teams in the coming weeks. What do you think? Are the Fever still contenders? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned.